Hey, you meat suits. It's me, the Immoral Oracle, and I'm coming at you with a love reading today. This is not your average love reading, per usual. Okay. This is a reading about love itself, and you could be in any different kind of state of connection or non-connection. You could be single, you could be in a long-term relationship, you could be in a brand new relationship, you could be just breaking up with somebody. This reading can apply to you because this reading is about you and love. All right, having said that, YouTube does like it if I tell you to please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, engage in some way. It's also fair for you to give me energy exchange in return for the energy that I put out by doing this reading for you. So, having said that, I am really excited to get started with this one. I have asked, how can you bring more love into your life? And what does this message want you to know about love? Okay, so to start with, how can you bring more love into your life? Nine of Wands and Ace of Swords. Okay, this is coming in right away to talk about tending to your wounding, okay, about boundaries, about acceptance, okay, especially in this image that, acceptance that thorns come with the roses, okay, but how can you bring more love into your life? Well, this is about learning to navigate around the thorns so that you don't sustain so many damages, okay? This card was also specifically bringing in the idea that the body keeps the score. So, this is about literally listening to the cues of your body as well as, regular body maintenance and nourishment. Yes, that has everything to do with love. Okay. Self love is the most important kind of love, in my humble opinion. Okay. So, this kind of body maintenance, nourishment, that's all being highlighted here. And in order to what? Let's get back to the point. Okay, in order to what? To heal your mind regarding love and receive not only new ideas about love, but this reading wants to come in to help you shift your mental clarity and overall frequency regarding love. Okay. Whew, just ain't no thing, just a little reading here. So these battles that are here in this Nine of Wands, okay, and if Nine of Wands is here, there have been some battles, babe. Some of them specifically regarding self-betrayal, but we'll get into that a little later. So these battles are shaping your mind to help you move with more discernment, understanding, and divine perception in regards to giving and receiving more as well as fuller versions of love in your reality. Okay. The Nine of Wands paired with the Amber here, we're going to talk about that. This is Amber from the Wild Child Oracle deck. They want to talk about the importance that the past holds on the future and the present. Okay. But it isn't like meant to be carried as a dead weight, the past, right? The wounds. It's not meant to be displayed in messy glory on the forefronts of your self-expression and personal relationships. The past is meant to be frozen and preserved as an artifact, to be studied and learned from. But there is a warning here specifically in my meditation. It's never to be drilled into like Jurassic Park, okay? So we all saw the consequences of messing with the dinosaur DNA, and it was a massacre, right? So you also, when Amber's coming in here, you don't want to be in the position to catch your feet up like this dragonfly did when it got stuck to the tree resin millions of years ago in the first place. So these cards want to talk about like letting the blessing be the lesson, right? And that's easy for me to say, and like, but this shit hurts here. Okay. So I do want to acknowledge that. But letting the blessing be the lesson. So it also takes an immense amount of pressure to fossilize something. Okay. So I do really, I want to give you credit for that. Okay. I want to acknowledge that with Amber and Nine of Wands energy here, I am speaking to a miracle. Okay, because you have been fatally wounded, little warrior, when it comes to love. Yet here we are talking about you and your current path towards cultivating and experiencing more love. So you may have had to lay down because of excessive blood loss, but you're not staying down, okay? And I think that's beautiful. All right, we're moving on. So now the Ace of Swords wants to talk about a few things here, okay? First of all, Alan Watts was coming to mind when I first saw this card, and particularly one of his lectures about overthinking and over-identification with the mind. So the message here is love is not a thought. However, huge however and caveat, okay? Our thoughts really do become things, and they also shape our reality. Um, Even if you're not someone who believes in like manifestation, they shape and create our reality because they filter our perceptions of that reality, right? It operates as a filter, the mind does. So Ace of Swords is coming through beautifully here to tell you that you can bring more love into your life by allowing the divine and renewed sense of curiosity and hopefulness trying to come through in this reading to filter your thinking and therefore, excitingly, also reshape the mental frequency with which you cast your bat signal to the world. Okay, that's exactly how it came through to me. Um, so, having said that, this shape here is a nautilus. And nautilus medicine in this card is wanting to talk about how each one of these chambers is a stage of life. And it's reminding you to step into new wisdom, but new wisdom written with the integration of your past. Okay. Nautilus geometry is special and it's sacred. So it follows something called the golden ratio, which is just a fancy equation that reflects the perfected mathematical proportions that naturally occur. This concept naturally occurs in different plants, and it's where the dimensions of each chamber exactly matches the chambers as they go larger. Okay, so this ratio basically appears like in specific growth patterns, like succulents and stuff. And it's a way to maximize space because it's packing efficiency and gives exposure to sunlight like in a perfect way. So in the vein of this imagery, I wish I could show you a picture here, but I don't have the capability to put in what this is naturally occurring in plants. But Nautilus is here in the reading to represent to me personally, the reader, the concept of the perfectly divine ratios of your mind, being able to embody and filter cosmic harmony and interconnectedness. And yes, this card really is saying that to me. It's beautiful. So in marine technology, the idea of chambers keeps the watercraft from sinking. So there's a system in a lot of marine vessels where there's an automatic like emergency system under the hull that engages when the vessel starts to take on water. So chambers they close up to contain the water and keep it from flooding like into the next chamber and taking the vessel completely down. So Nautilus is here in the same way, like in the same energy, because it also seals off its old small chambers as it moves forward. So this is here to talk about learning how to safely leave behind old and outdated habits or mindsets surrounding love, or rather what love ultimately hasn't been in your life. Okay. Ace of Swords is also talking about returning to center. I don't know if you can see this keyhole here, but it was talking about returning to center. And I was meditating on that and asked the question, well, what is center? So Wild Child card, the Oracle Euphoria card. Oh, I'm sorry, ephemeral. I guess there could be euphoria coming in here. Ephemeral card came in as the answer to that question. So this is like mosquito energy here, which talks to me about allowing transitions to flow naturally in love and in your life. So this energy coming in is about not clinging to things, but not resisting them either. It's about leaning into finding joy in the everyday moments of life. Okay, that's super important in this reading because here is also talking about all the tiny million little paper cuts in the day-to-day life. Okay, the joy in everyday moments of life, but it is also the antidote to amber medicine. This card here is the antidote to amber medicine, because amber medicine keeps you trapped and frozen, and ephemeral is constantly moving, and you can't possibly be frozen in the past, because it's drawing you into like creative, moving energy of the current moment. So there's also some discussion here between ephemeral and Nine of Wands that wanted to bring you some awareness to support you using mindfulness, and specifically using mindfulness to combat like minor irritations of the current moment. And this is talking about basically like I don't know if you've ever heard of the concept of like, like your energy being a bank, but it's talking about using like consistent methods of remembering to notice where your energy is getting debited or drained. So it often like is in the little things where we're leaking our vital energy and life force and slowly taking on water, like if we're going back to that vessel analogy. And ephemeral is asking you to better address small, unresolved, annoying little issues that affect your energy level, because this is affecting your overall ability to maintain joy, and it's affecting your relationship with yourself. And as a result, your relationship with love, like, and or a lover, right? So there's a need to create a safe and dedicated time and space to relationship building and intimacy. So you could be talking like in that sense specifically about with your person, but like in a broader theme, just about creating space and time with yourself to foster like more receptivity to the energy of love in the first place. Okay, now we're going to move on to the question, what does this message want you to know about love? For this part of the reading, you got Page of Cups, King of Cups, Five of Swords, Eight of Cups, and Knight of Pentacles. So first of all, Page of Cups is coming in here trying to talk to us about the importance of emotionally led communication. So Page of Cups is talking about bonding, playful sensuality, trust, and confiding of the self. So I want to point out, like, again, since this reading is generally about love and you could be in any various state of relationship or not, this is still something you need to know and practice while you're single, okay? Whether you're doing that with like a best friend or a confidant, a journal, a therapist, a spiritual advisor, the Page of Cups is simply wanting to talk about the skill of intimacy, which is a skill, and which begins with the self. It begins with being emotionally aware and honest, tapped and tuned in to your body, especially if there's been self-betrayal in the past in that Nine of Wands energy. This is really important energy. This is about learning how to trust love and you, like you itself, okay? If there is a current relationship, whether old or new, this card wants to let you know that small moments of bonding are really needing your intentional energy and time, like almost like scheduled time for bonding. And there's a need for you to be more willing to try to share your fears, your hurts, your worries, and your joys more openly and honestly. So this can also be a card letting someone know that if they struggle with the vulnerability associated with affirming their partner, that's something that needs to be practiced, okay? Like practice making statements and declarations regarding your admiration and your feelings of love towards someone more consistently, okay? King of Cups wants to come in to acknowledge the incredible emotional maturity and depth that actually exists here, like in this reading, in contrast to the small and tentative energy of the Page of Cups. So there is a need for patience regarding love because of this contrast here, okay? Both with yourself and, if applicable, with your partner or support system. So Shark in this card wants to talk about perception, and it's usually about the perception of fears, okay? So with the Five of Swords coming next, there really is an energy of needing to put effort and work into better understanding something. So either understanding something more deeply or congruently about yourself, or something about another person. If this is yourself, you could be like fighting yourself or like at odds in your own mind. And if there is someone else involved, there could be a way that your minds are not meeting quite right. Okay. So, for instance, with the Five of Swords, it could talk about like people having different love languages and needing to be intentional to overcome that, or different levels of trauma, like between the two of you, and how that has affected one or both of your ability to bond. Okay. So, with Five of Swords here, too, that rose is coming in again. So, it's like the rose versus the thorns idea, and it's showing that the woman is hiding some of herself and the man is just a shadow with his heart stitched together, like to the side of her. So this was talking to me about the masculine strength of taking intentional action and maybe needing some healing and work as well on that regard, or like with the feminine ability for vulnerability and receptivity being lacking. So like that could be referring to like this happening in the dynamic between two people, or simply within one person's like self, like their psyche or their energy field or whatever. So really quick, I do want to go back to the King of Cups here, because this card being here is telling me that regardless of the rest of what I'm saying in this reading, that the cards want you to know that you, the viewer, you have truly grown emotionally and in meaningful and important, mature ways through these experiences. Even if you can't recognize that, this reading is saying like you need to, and that you genuinely have a lot to offer when it comes to relationships. So I just wanted to affirm you, viewer, in case you didn't know that or didn't remember that today. Okay. As well as this card being here wants to encourage you that you can trust yourself. There is just a need to quiet the mind and scan your emotional body for guidance, but you can trust what you find there, right? So, because what you have experienced in the past as love was quite damaging, and you are still learning how to deal with it and how to heal your nervous system, okay? So, you're still learning how to let the less exciting and more challenging aspects of what love really is take place in your life, take shape in your life. So, it's going to be unsettling and uncomfortable sometimes, okay? But King of Cups is here to say, like, you've got this, okay? Now we're going to move forward towards wrapping up this message. Whew. Are you still with me, guys? I love this. You're beautiful. You really are beautiful, collective. Okay. So this message really wants you to know with the Eight of Cups here, like Ladybug is coming in to bring you comfort. Okay. She wants to comfort you with ideas about a change in your luck, first of all, regarding love, right? There's a change in your luck regarding love. Okay. Partnership is available to you. It's here now. The energy of it is bringing it in, like whatever it is for you, it's available. Love is real and you can have it. Okay. Ladybug wants to talk about divine protection, renewal, and above all, she wants to talk about the rewarding fruition of your patience. So, like butterflies, ladybugs go through like really distinct stages of development. And this Eight of Cups here is reminding you to trust your own personal evolution. Okay. This card also is reminding you that ladybugs are gentle. Okay. They have an unhurried movement that encourages one to stop forcing outcomes. There's more of that energy. And this isn't a call, though, to go with the flow to the point of self betrayal. I do want to just point that out. It's a guidance to remember that love is your motherfucking birthright. Okay. That love is inherent in every single one of your cells, in your body, in your skin, in your hair. Like love exists. And I know that because you exist and you are love. Love is always growing. replicating and creating itself within your spirit and your life. Ladybug is here to say this to you, okay? But that it requires trust and intention on your part to properly bloom. With Eight of Cups, it also requires the willingness to submit to shedding of your old skins, okay? So, ain't no thing. We're going to bring in the last energy here. And this is bringing us to the end of this message, which I'm actually getting sad about saying. So this has been a really cool energy to be in. But the Knight of Pentacles wants to talk, first of all, about how this is the most patient, consistent, and solid night of all the nights, okay? It can also be the least exciting. So there is some acknowledgement of that. Okay, but horse is also specifically a representation of blessed union, emotional security, and lasting harmony. Okay, rather than the high or fast-paced nervous system assault that the modern day ideas of romance create collectively, this horse is here to talk about the slowness and stability of love. Okay, the parts of real and true love that aren't exciting, that are work, that are hard, and that take time and repeated practice. Okay. But the deep and long-term foundation that those kinds of intentional partnership building bring is unmatched. Okay. Nine of Pentacles is here to say that. Like, love is not a feeling. I'm going to say that again, you guys. Love is not a feeling. Knight of Pentacles is saying, like, yes, the brain does, need and creates bonding and oxytocin and different chemicals, that bring feelings of safety, that bring feelings of closeness, well-being, and even sometimes euphoria, right? But those things aren't necessarily love, because love at its core, Knight of Pentacles is saying, is an action. So it isn't what we say. It isn't what we think. It isn't what we feel, guys. It is what we do and how we show ourselves and those that we care about that we mean it. Okay. The palm leaves are here to tell us that love is resilient and flexible, that love bends like a reed so that it doesn't snap like a branch. Love relies on divine provision, helping it thrive when the season withholds rain. And it represents the building of an oasis, okay, which is sustained by the grace we offer ourselves and those that we love. Especially the palm leaves are here talking to us about shedding old leaves to make room for new growth and expansion. All right. I want to thank you for being here with me today. I love what I do. And I love when these readings use me to bring messages like this into existence. So I'm just trusting that this reading will help those that it's intended to and confuse those who have no business being here on my channel. Having said that, may you have the day you deserve, my little flesh temples. Until next time.